This is Scott the Fix Guy. Today we're dealing with a BOSCH dishwasher that is no longer draining. We're going to be replacing the drain pump. It's very seldom that these drain pumps will stop working. It's usually a clog in the drain system. But this one's an older dishwasher and it finally did create a lot of noise and then it just stopped. And we have the part number right here. And it's pretty easy to replace. You don't have to take the dishwasher out of the cabinet. You can just keep it in the cabinet and just remove some parts of the door. So we sped up the camera here a little bit. We're removing these Torx 15 screws from the inside all along the perimeter of the door. Not at the very top, but these are the ones that hold on this front panel. We're going to just pull this out from the bottom. Then we're going to remove the bottom kick plate, sometimes called the toe plate, a couple Phillips head screws. We've already got it unplugged. And we're going to be removing this little hose here. We're going to get it out of its clip. There we go. And before we remove the drain pump, we'll get some of the water out of the sump. There's always a little bit of water left in the BOSCH dishwasher sump. So I'm using a turkey baster to just get all this out before I remove the pump. Otherwise, all this water will end up in the drip tray below the dishwasher, and it may activate the anti-flood system. So I want to get this water out first. There'll be even a little bit left at the end, but it's okay. Be about maybe a tablespoon full left. I'm going to put these parts back in the filter assembly and the lower spray arm. Close the door. And now we can pull out this hose. Just wiggle it out. This is the one that brings water into the sump from the fill valve. There we go. We're going to open up the wire connector and pull out the power connector for the pump. We're going to remove this cross panel by removing two Torx 15 screws, and this gives us a little bit more room to get the pump out. We're going to pull the panel out of the way, just creating some space. So I'm going to grab the pump, and there's a little catch at the top. I'm going to push in on that. That'll allow me to rotate the pump to my right. So I'm rotating it clockwise. And once it rotates clockwise far enough, it will let go of the lugs that are holding it in. And then I just got to wiggle the thing out. Take your time here. This might be a little difficult. There's not much room. So we're going to wiggle this thing out. And grab the new pump. I'm just going to put it in the reverse order. Yeah, these are actually really good, tough drain pumps that I hardly ever have to replace. So I'm going to push it in, start the pump. The top of the pump is out at about 2 o'clock, if you can imagine a clock. And then I'm going to push it, engage the lugs, and then push it in and turn to my left counterclockwise until the motor is pointing toward the 12 o'clock position. And I'll put the power connector back in, give it power, make sure it's locked into position. I'm going to put this fill hose back in. I'm going to push it all the way in as far as it'll go, and I'll put its little clip back on. I'm going to put the crossbar back into position, and then I'll put in the two Torx 15 screws. Yeah, when your dishwasher doesn't drain, the first thing I would look at is the air gap device up by the kitchen faucet. They very commonly get obstructed. I'd also check the drain hose. The last thing that would be, I would think, would be the drain pump. So you're going to put this bottom panel back in and 2 Phillips head screws to hold that in. I think we got this pump at Amazon.com, pretty cheap. There we go. And then these little plastic things, make sure they're in place. They kind of hold the panel where it should be. They just click in. So I'm going to push the panel up into the control panel up above. And I'm going to push in at the bottom. It may take a little bit of force to get this to come in at the bottom. It'll have to push over those 2 white plastic clips we just saw. Then I can open the door and I can add those screws back in. I usually open it and I hold it with one hand, and then I start a couple of the bottom screws. These are the short Torx 15 screws. I sped up the camera a little bit. Zip all those in. These are actually really good dishwashers. They have one of the highest customer satisfaction. They're quiet. If you use the right kind of detergent, they clean really well. So I'll press these 2 buttons together that activate the drain, turn it on, and then you can hear the drains working. Sounds strong. So we got it. So thanks so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful to you, and please subscribe when you get a chance.